Good evening, everyone. I am Ishame Aswario, and today our group will talk about the historical condition of contemporary literature. Contemporary literature is deeply influenced by major historical events, particularly those that occurred during the 20th century. Events such as World War II, the Cold War, and various global social transformations significantly shape how writers express ideas, emotions, and human experiences. Before these events, literature often focused on romanticism, idealism, and structured storytelling. However, the distraction, trauma, and uncertainty brought by these historical moments led writers to question reality, human nature, and existence itself. As a result, literature became more reflective, psychological, and critical. Writers began to explore deeper themes such as trauma, identity, memory, and existential crisis. They also experimented with new literary techniques, including fragmented narratives and non-linear storytelling, to better represent the complexity of human experience. This topic highlights how history transforms literature into a powerful tool for understanding both individual and collective struggles. Um, the impact of World War II on literary themes and tone. World War II, which lasted from 1939 to 1945, was one of the most devastating events in human history. It caused widespread destruction, loss of millions of lives, and deep psychological trauma across nations. The war affected not only political and economic systems, but also the way people view life, humanity, and morality. Writers who experienced or witnessed the war were deeply influenced by its brutality, leading them to reflect its realities in their works. That's all.
So, good evening, everyone. I will be discussing about trauma literature and psychological storytelling. So, this topic is very important because it helps us understand how writers express deep emotional pain and how stories reflect human mind and experiences. Guys, I'm trying to take over. So, what is trauma literature? Trauma literature refers to stories that focus on painful or disturbing experiences such as abuse, loss, war, or emotional suffering. So these stories show how trauma affects the person, thoughts, emotions, and behavior. So what is psychological storytelling? Psychological storytelling focuses on the inner thoughts, emotions, and mental struggles of characters. Instead of action, it highlights what is happening inside the mind. So, more on feelings ni siya linking the name, not just events. Inaana ang psychological, ang makarelate ani katong mga nagmamoy siya. So, ang makarelate ito ang psychological, ito lagi mga sa experience sa abuse ganyan. Okay, dapat. So, ang technique sa psychological storytelling kay flashbacks are scenes that go back to the past. They are used to show important memories, especially traumatic experiences that affect the character's present behavior. So, mga inana, ganun siya kaya kung naamoy yung mga experience sa iyong mga kaagi na magsuwat mo mga kanaalang story, mas dali siya ma-reflect, mas dali mo makasabot, yun ang mga experiences. Device. So, character suddenly remembers a painful childhood experience which is explains why they are afraid or anxious. So, ang fragmental fragment narrative means that story is not told in a complete or in complete order, so it may be broken into pieces to reflect confusion or trauma in the character's mind. So the story jumps between different types or events, showing how the character struggles or to process their experience. So it either thoughts, Mia, kay focus on what the character and thinking and feeling. Guys, these techniques allows readers to understand the character's emotions, fear, and struggles.
So the next one is the existentialism as a philosophical literary movement. The first one is, what is existentialism? Existentialism is a philosophical and literary movement that explores the nature of human existence. It became prominent after the World War II when people began questioning the meaning and purpose of life due to widespread suffering. The one key figure associated with this movement is Albert Camus. Existentialism focuses on the key ideas of life has no fixed or wala siya kanang inherent meaning. The next one is individuals must create their own kanang, what do you call this one? Purpose. Humans have freedom but also responsibility of their choices. The existentialism is a literature that often feel isolated and disconnected. The next one is confused about their identity and in search of meaning in an uncertain world. Existentialism became popular after World War II because people started questioning life. Writers showed characters who feel lost and must find their own meaning. It emphasizes the humans that are free but responsible for their choices. Existentialism is not just philosophy but also a literary movement. Kay daghan ang writers ka nag-express of kanang existential thing. Nga pinaagi sa novel, sa play, o sa essay, kay nagpakita siya og kung saan ganit pag-atubang ang isolation o ang personal struggles sa characters.
Let's proceed to memory, narrative, and the act of is memory narrative? Importance of the act of remembering. Memory narratives are stories based on personal or collective memories. These works reconstruct past experiences, show how memory shapes identity. However, memory is not always accurate. Writers often show selective remembering, emotional interpretation of events. These type This type of literature is important because it preserves history, it helps people understand past experiences. So, ang memory narrative kay nag-focus sa personal or collective memories kanang makatabang sa pag-shape sa identity sa tao, pero sometimes memories can be unreliable. Shows how emotions affect the way people remember events. There were daghang writers na gamit o autobiographies, narrative, non-fiction, and fiction. For a show ganing sa process of past events, like saan pag-connect sa identity o sa character and experiences sa like for example ang emotions kanang past events sa life then ila iko as that's my Makapause na for a while. Guys, wait a second. In addition to memory, narrative, and the act of remembering, importance of remembering, guys, right? Memory plays a crucial role in shaping how individuals understand themselves and their past. However, memory is not always accurate or complete. Writers often show that memory can be selective, focusing on only certain events, emotionally influenced, changing over time. Unreliable or fragmented despite this, memory narratives are important because they preserve historical experiences, help individuals process the past, provide insight into human identity and emotions. So, in regards to the next slide, kami na line report sa Kapitaliada.
On behalf of Atimitiliada, I will be reporting the Cold War influences and dystopian storytelling. The Cold War background is it was a period of political tension between global powers after World War II. It created widespread fear, especially related to nuclear war, government control, and loss of freedom. The dystopian literature is, as a result of these fears, dystopian literature became popular. This genre presents imagined societies that are often oppressive and controlled. Common features include strict government control, loss of individuality, surveillance, and manipulation. These stories serve as warnings about the dangers of abuse of power, technological control, political oppression. Dystopian literature reflects society's anxieties and encourages readers to think critically about the future. The next one is the literary forms, which will be Atininya
Example sa literary forms kay Night by Ali Basu, Holocaust Memoir, and The Stranger by Albert Camus, existentialist novel. The Bamboo Dancers by Andian Gonzalez and Philippine post-star fiction. These works represent how historical events influence different literary forms and styles. These are the example of literary forms, and that's all. Thank you.